This is NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Whelen, also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Now, with the latest NASCAR local, regional, touring, and international racing news and views, here are Hannah Newhouse and Kyle Rickey.
Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network, and I know I give him crap every single week, but before we get the show started, we have to say happy birthday to Kyle, because it is Wednesday when you guys will be watching this, and his birthday was the day prior. So, Kyle, another year around the earth for you. Happy birthday. Do you have any birthday wishes for your 23rd birthday?
No, it's
23rd year in a row.
20, whatever. It's 24 this year.
Okay.
Or 41. And I guess the biggest birthday wish is to get back to the racetrack here soon. And like we've talked about every week for the past 3 months, I feel we're getting closer. We're seeing more tracks open up. Unfortunately, Connecticut's still pretty buttoned up here as far as Stafford and Thompson is concerned, but we're seeing cars on the racetrack at Stafford in private test sessions, so hopefully the next step will be actual race events. But, that's my birthday wish, to get back to the racetrack here soon.
Well, it's like you said, slowly but surely getting there, and it never fails also that when we record something on the Monday, something usually breaks by Tuesday or Wednesday that we have missed. And that was the case once again last week. We talked to Justin Bonsignor with the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, talking about opening weekend, going to Myrtle Beach, and then they canceled Myrtle Beach on us for a weather call. So Myrtle Beach did not happen over the past weekend, but we have a new racetrack on the schedule that we're now going to open the season up here shortly.
It's been a while since the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour last visited Jennerstown Speedway in Pennsylvania, but they will open the season there in a couple of weeks. The new date, June 21st at Jennerstown, and there's going to be a second race there later in the year. So that'll be fun. I believe Ted Christopher, the last winner at Jennerstown 2014. So I think that's a better fit for the modifieds. You're much closer, or actually probably you could almost argue within the region of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour up here in the Northeast, where I think Myrtle Beach, South Carolina might have been a bit of a stretch for the modified teams. But Mother Nature intervened anyway. That same storm system that interfered with all the Charlotte races last week also interfered with the modified season opener at Myrtle Beach. So I think it'll be a better fit, and looking forward to that event in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of those modified teams are going to be a lot happier about not having to drive all the way down there, deal with the hotels. For some of them, it will be a single-day trip over to the racetrack, and the opportunity to get racing back up in the Northeast. That could be your option there. I know it's only still 2 weeks away, Kyle, but that may be the one that you have to go to. I mean, that's probably the only one that's going to open anytime soon, right?
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I'd like to go. Absolutely. You want to meet me there? I think it'd probably be the same drive for you going north than it is for me going south.
Hey, don't tempt me at this point. I'm supposed
to go
to
Atlanta. No, it's not a late
model
race. But...
Right. It's not a late model race. I'm supposed to go to Atlanta this upcoming weekend, and then I'm not sure yet. We're still waiting to hear what is going on in the next couple weeks with NASCAR. So once I figure that out, I may have to make a road trip up there. But speaking of also racetracks, we're starting to see them come back. Unfortunately, some news also broke over last week that the Las Vegas Bull Ring out in Nevada has completely canceled their season. They just decided that they are going to cut their losses where they are. They don't feel that they will probably be able to have fans in the 2020 season, so they have decided to just restart in 2021. And you can't help but wonder if there are other tracks that are thinking that same thing like we talked about in previous weeks, just with the losses they've already had.
I think they're all thinking it, but it's also still only June 3rd. So the way this pandemic has unfolded over the last 2 to 3 months, I mean, I feel like every week things are changing, and every state things are changing in different phases. And Las Vegas is opening up the casinos later this week. So I don't know. I still think it's premature to say, hey, on June, or actually when they called it was the last week of May, to scratch the entire season. Now, normally they do take, most of July and August off because it's 147 degrees out there. And they don't run weekly during the sweltering heat, summer months. So, I mean, maybe, but, I think they could also probably get a 3-month season in September, October, and November if they wanted to try that. So who knows? But yeah, I think a lot of short tracks have been thinking it, but they're the first to pull the trigger.
Yeah, and what's amazing to me too is different from the East Coast is out on the West Coast, our racetracks are spread so much farther out. So you've got, Las Vegas, and really the closest one from Vegas is Tucson, which is a solid 4 or 5 hours.
Yep.
And so the folks that race or call Las Vegas Motor Speedway or Bullring home, their options, they can't go up the road 2 hours when the next racetrack opens. I mean, this is a 9, 10, 12-hour drive to any other racetrack that they can run on a weekly basis. And so they're putting those teams in a pickle that race on a weekly basis that are now going to have to reach out to Tucson. Over the past weekend, Meridian Speedway held a race as well.
Yep.
And Washington State hasn't opened their racing. So you saw folks like Garrett Evans and Brittany Zamora. Jeremy Doss made a 15-hour trip from California up to Idaho because their racetracks won't open. So folks like that, they're kind of put in a bind ultimately.
Absolutely. And I, to an extent, we're seeing the same thing here in the Northeast, but I think we're all on the same page as far as New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts. We're all fairly tight. There's nowhere for folks to go except for maybe a 5-hour trip up to Maine this weekend, because I believe there's a track or two opening up in northern New England. But as far as southern New England and right around that New York hub where we've seen a lot of the COVID-19 spike occur over the last couple of months, things are still pretty tight. They are loosening up, not at the rate that a lot of people want to see, but not a lot of options here as well as far as available racetracks. But like your point, we have more racetracks here than on the West Coast, and this is a pretty big hit for those teams that wanted to go racing with Bullring not opening this summer.
Now, I have to tell you, actually, that just reminded me. I worked an event over the weekend, and my co-host, my co-anchor he's from the UK, and one of the things that they showed was the state flags from every competitor at some point, and he started looking stuff up and couldn't figure out that Connecticut was a state because it was so small. He's like, does every city in the United States have a flag? Because he couldn't fathom the fact that Connecticut itself was a state, if that makes you feel any better, because he was comparing it to Texas and Florida and California. And then there's just wee little Connecticut up there with its little flag.
Yeah, there are cities, I think, that are bigger than Connecticut and Rhode Island. I mean, you can take all of New England and put all 6 states in Texas. So
what are the 6 states that are New England for
Maine,
me that's not geographically savvy?
Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and apparently Connecticut's a state. So Connecticut.
New York's not part of the Northeast?
And it's part of the Northeast. It's not part of New England. No.
Huh. Idaho was 48th out of 50 in the education board, so we're just gonna roll with that. But again, we have talked about Las Vegas. We're going to try and get caught up with Preston Peltier. He's a super late model racer that more prominently has won a ton of races here on the East Coast, is a big name within late model racing, made the move out to the West Coast a few years ago, made his mark out there as well, and recently uprooted his life to Las Vegas to take a job with Sigma Engineering and Sigma Performance to work on their late model team and their racing team in general. And with this news, I mean, you got to feel bad for the whole situation. And
that transition to Sigma happened during the offseason. They were getting ready to go for 2020. It was going to be a big year. He ended last year with a high in victory lane at the Las Vegas Bullring. So, we'll talk to him about that and now what are his options, as the Bullring has announced that they're not going to run in the foreseeable future. So he's also found success in Pensacola, Florida, at the Snowball Derby, winning a pole a few years ago. So one of the best short track racers out there, but with limited options right now. He has an event this weekend. I believe the SRL Southwest Tour, going to get back on track at Stockton 99. We'll talk to him about that. Currently second in points. So he has a lot going on. So we'll catch up to him and talk about what he has going on and how he'll fill that Las Vegas void.
Yeah, we'll get Preston dialed up here just in a few minutes here on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. On the road, in the air, and around the world, Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, it did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Wherever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. You can count on Hercules Tires to have your back when times are tough, all while adding money to your pocket. The purchase of 4 qualifying Hercules tires through May 31st, 2020 could get you up to a $70 Visa prepaid card. Visit HerculesTire.com/spring rebate to learn more. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen and by Hercules Tires. Here are Hannah Newhouse and Kyle Rickey.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. We talked about it before the break, and now we are joined by special guest Preston Peltier. And Preston, first off, thanks for taking time out of your day to join us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad you guys called. It's always nice to talk to you, and we got all kinds of things happening, so it's about time to have a conversation, I guess.
Yeah, now let's just jump right into it there. You know, we followed your story through the off season of uprooting, moving from Denver, Colorado to Las Vegas to join the team of Sigma, and the role that you took on there. But before we get into all of the happenings, or lack thereof, I guess we could say, in Las Vegas here, talk about that move and the transition to Sigma, where you came from, and what your position there is now.
So technically, Joe, he's kind of been building a little empire here for the last couple of years, and he's got some, pretty big names, Dustin Ash and Chuck and Charlie Wall. They're staples from out here in Vegas, and he I don't think that he set out to build the program that he did, but everything just kind of clicked into place, and I came down to join the team, and I see his vision, and I know where he wants to go, and I think that that's kind of where I want to be a part of it. It's going to be a big deal.
Supposed to debut with that team at the Winter Showdown. Obviously, that was canceled. So before we talk about what's coming up, how tough has it been to make this transition and then suddenly find yourself having to sit and wait?
Well, so there's not been any sitting and waiting for me.
It's a good thing.
I literally I picked the worst time to do everything, from buy a house to start a business. So, I was flying back and forth from Denver to here, looking at houses, and the real estate market was hot at the time. So it literally was like, it was frustrating because we'd find a place we liked and put an offer in, and there'd be 16 other offers the same day, and they'd go for, way over asking price. So I was kind of stressed just to begin with, and finally we honed in on this deal, and then the COVID thing hit, and then, I was thinking, man, should I really be doing what I'm doing? But, I'd already made the commitment, so, it was just kind of full speed ahead. So between trying to get moved and buy a house and everything, there's been absolutely I have no time off. I've been working 7 days a week for, before the COVID thing started.
And that being said, we just heard through, the announcement that the Las Vegas Bull Ring, right in your guys' backyard, went ahead and canceled their 2020 season. And Kyle and I talked about it in the beginning of the show. They usually take the summer months off because it gets too hot to race. and we're not even in the summer really. I mean, they've got the end of this year. How does that affect you guys, knowing that the track that, you guys base out of is now postponing till 2021?
Well, so the Vegas market is kind of a small market, as far as we're concerned. We got our eye on the bigger fish, and we want to service people all over the West Coast. And I think that with the team that Joe's assembled, we have the talent and we have the equipment. Like, there's nothing in this shop that we need or don't have, and if we need something and don't have it, it's just a phone call away. Like, he's really given us all the tools that we need to get this done.
You said last year, though, the Las Vegas Bull Ring on your bucket list to do well there and win, which you did. Why was that place so high up on that bucket list to get on your resume?
I'll tell you, because I came here for the first time in 2015, driving for the Vettorellis, and we brought a knife to a gunfight, and I had no idea, and it was so frustrating. And I was kind of at the top of my game, as far as my career goes, as a driver. So I think, when we rolled into town, there was a lot of high expectations, not only from myself and my team, but, from others that we were racing against, and we were terrible. So, that definitely started a fire in me, and like I just have unfinished business, and I wanted to get that checked off the list,
And I want to continue that with the success that you've had, not only on the East Coast, but also on the West Coast. One of the things that I'd seen in an article is that you had always wanted to do or be part of a racing development team, develop upcoming drivers. And you've got the resume yourself, but the team you were with prior didn't necessarily have that expansion plan. And then you connect with Joe, and Joe has that expansion plan and the same vision. What does that mean to you to be able to now, you're still racing yourself, but to be able to help up and coming drivers or just drivers hone in on that potential, the car aspect of things? I mean, what does that mean to you as a driver that has that resume?
So I tried to start a deal in North Carolina, and I helped several drivers. I helped Brandon Setzer and Tyler Church and Cole Tim and Chandler Smith, and then things kind of changed a little bit, and I stepped back, and I got the opportunity to go driving. So instead of paying for my own racing, I was getting paid to be a driver, which that's what really ultimately what I wanted to do ever since I was a kid. It was like the perfect opportunity. And but my priorities kind of changed a little bit, and I'm not, I'm getting older. I'm in my 40s now, and I've got some young kids. And I just don't see that I'm going to be an asset behind the wheel very much longer. So I want to still be, this is my life. Racing's been my life ever since I was a kid. So I'm just kind of changing gears. And the Vettorellis, they're like family to me. I love them to death. But this was probably a little too big for where they wanted to go, and Joe had the vision, and he thinks we could do it. He knows we can do it. And since we've come in there and with the team that he's assembled, it's like, I see the potential, and so I'll still be behind the wheel. I still have that fire. I still want to drive. I still want to win races, but I want to be part of something a little bigger too,
We talked a bit earlier here on the East Coast. We have some short tracks opening up. We have some touring divisions getting back in action. The Spears SRL Southwest Tour back in action this weekend. Stockton 99 Speedway. Excited to get there as you, I believe, second in points heading to this event this weekend.
Yeah, so I'm not really a points racer. I haven't raced for points since 2008 or something like that, and I'm more, like a bucket list guy. There's places I want to go. I still feel like I want to win at Berlin, and I want to win the Winter Showdown. I want to win the Showdown at Irwindale. I've already won at Irwindale, but it was a little different deal, So we're committed right now to the points deal just because, I feel that's what everybody wants to do. It's not necessarily a high priority for me, but, if this is what it takes to get everything rolling, then, I'm on board and I'm going to do the best that I can and hope for the best,
Yep.
And to continue that, they're racing out on the East Coast and doing those bucket list races. We talked about the success that you've had at the Snowball Derby, the biggest super late model race out there, had that quick time. Is there still that potential to potentially take this new endeavor of yours to the Derby this year? Fingers crossed. Absolutely. It all still pans out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that, I still have some unfinished business there. The year that I sat on the pole, I had a really fast car. And here's the bummer, you spend $5,000 or $5,500 or whatever it is for a pit crew and something happens and you go from first or second to like one of the last cars off a pit road and then an ensuing wreck just kind of ended our day, So I don't know. I had a really good car. I had a top 3 car. I don't know if I could have won, if the planets and stars lined up right, it could happen. And I would rather be lucky than good any day, but I want to go back. And if you put yourself in position and you get it, I think anybody who wins that race is, a little bit lucky. And we have the equipment, we have the skill, we have the ability. So we're definitely going to try it again, and hopefully we'll get some results.
So where does that list rank on the bucket list? I heard you mention Winter Showdown in Berlin and Summer Showdown, and I was waiting for the Snowball Derby, and I didn't hear it.
So, well, I was talking about like races out here on the West Coast. We are definitely going to do some East Coast racing. We haven't really got a schedule put together yet. We're still thrashing and trying to get things. We got to get the fundamentals in place first, and that's what I'm working toward by getting these cars out and taking them and running the SRL deal, is getting everything fine-tuned. I'm not he has Fury cars here. I'm not accustomed to those, so I like what I've seen so far. We're just tweaking on stuff, and definitely if I have to pick one race, and even with the Vetturellis, if you ask them what's the one race, and it's going to be the Snowball Derby. So that just kind of goes without saying. I don't even think I need to say it, and you guys already knew. Just checking.
Yeah, it's like the Chili Bowl for dirt racing. It's like the big race for modifieds. The Snowball Derby, if you are a late model racer, is the one. But Preston, I know you're in your truck here. You're at work, so we will let you get back to work. But we really appreciate you taking some time today and talking about this new endeavor, and we're definitely looking forward to following it.
Well, cool. I hope you guys don't wait so long and we get to talk again.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Preston. Appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
See ya.
All right. Bye.
Preston Peltier, driver in the late models out on the West Coast. But up next, we've got your Whelen Short Track Engineering Short Track Spotlight.
Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. On the road, in the air, and around the world, Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
Wherever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. You can count on Hercules Tires to have your back when times are tough, all while adding money to your pocket. The purchase of 4 qualifying Hercules tires through May 31st, 2020 could get you up to a $70 Visa prepaid card. Visit HerculesTire.com/spring rebate to learn more. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen and by Hercules Tires. Here are Hannah Newhouse and Kyle Rickey.
Each and every week we get the opportunity to highlight one of NASCAR's short tracks here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen Engineering, and this week is Madison International Speedway, which is a half-mile paved oval in Oregon, Wisconsin, just to confuse everyone slightly further. The first track in this location was installed in the 1950s and was a quarter-mile dirt track. It was operated by local service organizations at first. In 1963, Sam Bardis purchased the track and paved the quarter mile. But 6 years later, in 1969, they had a vision to create a state-of-the-art racing facility and decided to move the quarter mile and built a high-banked, state-of-the-art half mile. With the new track came the name Capital Superspeedway, where Jerry Eckhart won the first race on the new track and Jim Black becoming the first track champion on the half mile. In the 1970s, the best drivers in the Midwest called Madison home, such as Joe Shear, Johnny Ziegler, Dick Trickle, Tom Reffner, and Jim Black. And they drew huge crowds at the Speedway. But unfortunately, at the end of the decade, the track was closed in 1979 due to a combination of small car counts and crowds. The track had exchanged hands multiple times and then went through a few more closures before finally opening back in 1992. In 2006, the quarter-mile Ring of Fire was built to allow other divisions to race at the track. And in 2011, the ARCA Racing Series returned to Madison after nearly 40 years of absence. Madison International Speedway was purchased by Greg and Angie McCarnes prior to the 2015 season. And the Track of Champions and Wisconsin fastest half mile has currently postponed their season until at least June 23rd. But they hope to open their season on June 26th for a Friday night event with fireworks. Again, that is Madison International Speedway. This week's short track spotlight brought to you by Whelen Engineering.
Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. On the road, in the air, and around the world, Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
Wherever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. You can count on Hercules Tires to have your back when times are tough, all while adding money to your pocket. The purchase of 4 qualifying Hercules tires through May 31st, 2020 could get you up to a $70 Visa prepaid card. Visit HerculesTire.com/spring rebate to learn more. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen and by Hercules Tires. Here are Hannah Newhouse and Kyle Rickey.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. We've talked about racetracks continuing to open their doors each weekend, and this weekend a couple more opened their doors for the first time for the season. Slinger National opened up their doors for a late model feature where Jacob Notstad, John Reynolds, and Jack Stern rounded out their top 3. Meridian was also back in action out in Idaho with modifieds being their feature division. Colton Nelson won that over Travis Pavlocki and Brendan Fries. I-44 Speedway also hosted a big ARCA CRA Super Late Model race with Carson Hocevar taking the win over Stephen Nasse and Kyle Crump. Jefferson opened their doors for a late model event as well with Riley Stengham, Jerry Eckhart, and Noel Ramsey being the top 3. And Kingsport out in Tennessee had a late model stock feature with Chase Dixon capturing that win over Ashton Higgins and Thomas Bean. So more tracks starting to open their doors this weekend, Kyle. Some schedule changes. It's an ever-fluid thing right now in the world of short track racing.
Yeah, we talked about the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour earlier. Myrtle Beach rained out last week. Now Jennerstown on June 21st, their season opener. Hickory Motor Speedway off last weekend. They're back this Saturday, June 6th for their weekly divisions. The Cars Tour is at Hickory next week on June 13th. Back to Cars Tour, back in action this weekend at the Ace Speedway on Friday night. Greenville Pickens off last weekend. They're back with a full card of racing for the first time this week without splitting all of their divisions up into 2 nights. On Saturday, June 6th, it'll include a 75-lap feature event for the limited late models. Colorado National Speedway announced the cancellation of their ARCA Menard Series West race, which was scheduled for this weekend. No word on when that will be made up. The last 4 K&N West races have been affected by this pandemic. Their next scheduled event is right now not until August 8th at Evergreen Speedway. Again, that could change. Sonoma was to be next weekend, June 13th. Obviously, with the Cup weekend not going there this year, that event was affected as well. And up north of the border, the NASCAR Pinty Series, apparently they're doing better than we are in this pandemic, but still 3 events have been affected thus far. The series announced last week that races at Jacasa Speedway on June 6th and at the Autodrome Chaudière on June 27th have been postponed. The next scheduled race, and hopefully the season opener, July 4th at Sunset Speedway in Innisfil, Ontario. So hopefully they can get in action here in the next 4 weeks or so. But again, fluid situation, as you mentioned, for everybody as the numbers change every day and this seem like the rules change every day.
And it doesn't help that in the past 2 weeks since we've been back racing, we've had, 3 tropical storms?
That doesn't help
through
either.
The area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my hardwood floors here in my house are shot from the dogs in the 3 inches of standing water. So I'm just ready to get back to a racetrack so that my hardwood floors stay clean for more than a day. It's been great. It's been great. I love it.
Thankfully, we have not had those storms reach up here, but, we got enough going on. So,
well, Kyle, again, we wish you a happy birthday. Hopefully you do something fun with your 21st birthday. Go out to the casino. We know that you like to hang out there. You can wear your Cassidy Pope mask.
I will.
Maybe she'll send you a birthday wish on Twitter.
See, here's the problem. Everyone thinks I'm a hardcore gambler, and I'm not. I go to these casinos for concerts. I mean, I've been to, I think, I left Charlotte 3 years ago, and I think I've been to like 70 concerts since moving back to Connecticut, both at the local casinos up here in Connecticut. So,
didn't you just see the Jonas Brothers too last year?
I did.
So many comments I could make right now
Jealous?
that are probably not appropriate.
In fact, that was one of the best concerts I've seen. That and New Kids on the Block.
That's like complete opposite spectrums. Like it's the same thing, but New Kids on the Block and the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah.
Like my generation and your generation, Kyle.
They were both very high energy concerts from start to finish. Cassidy Pope also has played up here a couple of times, and I've been to both of them, or 2 or 3 of them thus far. So, yeah, when I'm not at the racetrack, I'm usually at a concert. And unfortunately, the concert venues at the casinos aren't open. So we'll find something to do. But at least it's, again, a step in the right direction. I can get out, go somewhere, and walk around and people watch, if anything.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Kyle. Well, again, we will do this next week. Hopefully have some more racing to talk about. We talked about some more tracks opening up this weekend. Hopefully the Cars Tour running at Ace. So more short track racing is on the horizon, and we will cover it all next week on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
You've been listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Whelen, also brought to you by Hercules Tires. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.